Hi everybody, Ms. Cahill here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to complete the async speech analysis assignment using PDFs of different speeches and the Notability application. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open the assignment. While making this video, the assignment is not published, but it will be by the time you look at the assignment yourself. You will also be able to find this assignment in the Canvas calendar when you are ready. But the assignment is async speech analysis. By the time this is published, there will be tabs, but on the written tab, you'll see step 1, choose your speech and import the PDF into Notability. So let's say that I decided that I want to use the Beyonce Knowles Class of 2020 commencement. I would open up that page by clicking on the link, and I would see the video that we watched in class, along with a tab that says speech text, and the discussion questions that we looked at when we watched this speech. For this assignment, I'm going to select speech text, and I'm going to select click here because it's going to open up a PDF of Beyonce's speech. Once I have the PDF, I'm going to import it into Notability. The way that I do that is I select the share button, which you can find in the upper right hand corner. That kind of looks like a box with an arrow going out of it. I select that, and then I select Notability. In this case, I'm going to select Create New Note. I'm going to decide where I want to put it. In this case, I'm going to put it in Worksheets. And I might go in and change the name to my name in front of it if I want to. This is sort of an optional step. It just keeps it more organized, but M. Cahill marked up Beyonce Class of 2020 speech. That's a good name for it. That way my teacher knows exactly what this is. Then I go back and I select Import. Once the file is sent to Notability, I select Done. I close the Canvas application and I open Notability. If I was using it previously, then I can go ahead, go to Worksheets, and I should see it at the top of my Worksheets list. Yay, it's all done. So the next step is to go through and highlight. Now, I'm not going to highlight this one because that would be sort of cheating. You would see how to do this particular assignment, and I don't want to take that option away from you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a different one. I'm going to look up a PDF of MLK's speech for now. This is not required, by the way. This is something I'm doing for showing you stuff. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing at this one. I press that share button. I press Notability. I select Create New Note. I'll do example, and I'll import it. And just like that, if I go back, I should see the example I Have a Dream Martin Luther King Jr. speech on here. Now let's go back to the Canvas assignment so that we can see exactly what we're supposed to do. So I already completed step 1. I chose my speech and I imported it into Notability. If you miss any of those steps, just remember you can collect the Notability tutorials at this link, and that will open up the Notability tutorials and walk you through how to use that application. Then what I need to do is I need to highlight a bunch of different terms. So I need to find evidence of at least 8 of the terms that are listed below. I think there are 11 listed here altogether. So these are all of the things that we have looked at in class so far, And we're going to take the opportunity to look for all of these terms. Now, it's probably not a good idea to go through one by one and try to find all of these terms. And I did give you options for different colors. So one way that you can do this is you can highlight what you have here. Let's see if the highlight options will copy into Notability. Okay, it doesn't really work when we try to do it that way. I'm going to actually go ahead and delete that. But what I will do is I'm using like a Apple Pencil tool type thing, but you can just use your fingers or whatever works for you, or you can type your thoughts. But I'm going to go ahead and make my own key. So I'll just start by deciding what colors I'm going to make each of these terms. So I'm going to make ethos that yellow color, I'm going to make pathos this green color, I'm going to make logos this purple color. What else does Miss Cahill want me to use? Okay, she wants me to have argument, audience, speaker, and purpose, so I'll write those terms down. Not author. Audience. Purpose. And I'll choose some more colors. Maybe I'll do this light blue color for argument, gray color for audience, this like bluish gray color for speaker, maybe this orangey color for purpose. I'm pretty sure there are more. So we have argument, audience, speaker, purpose, ethos, pathos, logos. Oh, and we have exigence, illusions, analogies, and diction. So let's do that. I might have to zoom in a little bit to get these other ones to fit. And then I'll find a few more colors. So we'll do this brighter yellow for exigence, this brighter green for illusion, this hot pink for analogy, and let's see, maybe we'll do, I'm trying to think of a color we haven't used yet. Let's do like this brown color for diction. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's all of the terms that I could possibly find in this assignment. So what might be really useful is to read through it once and just highlight when we see something that works. So I am happy to join with you today, and what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Okay, so there's a couple of things right away. He acknowledges the audience. So he says he's happy to join you. So I am happy to join with you today. That is evidence of the audience, the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. So we know that the audience is there to protest in favor of freedom and jobs and all of those things. So then we go down here, 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, so this was him standing in front of the Abraham Lincoln Monument, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This monumentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of enslaved who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the N still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the N is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the N lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. And he goes on to describe what's happening right here, right now. To me, this is him describing the exigence, the thing that needs to be addressed. So what I'm going to basically do is just highlight this entire paragraph in that bright yellow color, because this is the thing that needs to be talked about. So when I read through the speech, I'm going to kind of just read through and see what comes up. I might have to read this more than once to really make it work, and there might even be some cases where one thing counts for more than one thing, right? Like I might read it a second time and say, okay, well, this section includes information about exigence, but it might also include information about the argument. So we might have, let's see, and so we've come here today, well, let's see, in a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise to all men, yes, black men as well as white men. I feel like that is his main argument, right? That this is something that belongs to everyone and they are not getting it. So this seems like his main argument. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note. Insofar as her citizens of color are concerned, instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the N people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. So far I've managed to go through and highlight the audience, the exigence, and the argument just as I read. And then, of course, not to mention, he uses an analogy. He refers to the idea of a check that can't be cashed. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight underneath it because he's using the analogy of a check or a promissory note, right? This idea that they are signing a promissory note. This is a use of analogy. So as I read, I might find that happens. So let's say I read through the entire speech. I find at least or evidence of at least 8 of these terms. I bet in I Have a Dream I could find evidence of all of the terms. And now I'm done. So what do? I would press the share button. I would select other apps. I would select other apps, just making sure. I would make sure that it says PDF. I'm going to go to page range, make sure there's no blank pages. All right, there are no blank pages. I'm going to go to share note. I'm going to select save to files. I'm going to make sure that I'm on my iPad. Alternatively, you can save to Google Drive if you have Google Drive connected to Notability, but you can do on my iPad. And I made a folder a while ago called Notability Worksheets. If you don't have a folder, you can select this Add Folder button and create a new folder. I already have one for Notability Worksheets, so I'm just going to put it in there. I'm going to select Save. Then I go back to the assignment. Right now I'm in teacher view, but I would have, let me see, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to publish it, and I'm going to try to go to student view so that we can see this assignment. So I'm going to, just a reminder, the assignment is async speech analysis. I would go to submit assignment. I would select choose file. I'd select browse. And I would select example I Have a Dream speech, and I would say submit assignment. So that's how you are going to complete this particular assignment. As always, if you have any questions for me, you can send me an email and I will be happy to support you as you work on this item. I hope you have a great Asynchronous Monday. Bye, everybody.